Where am I going? This one again. So after sitting with these cards for a little bit, the first card we have is the Temple. The first thing I'm noticing is the green and yellow energies that are just like all over the card. It's kind of like you've been praying for something to grow. Perhaps we're talking about manifestation, but I'm almost kind of seeing more of an enlightenment angle given the structure of the triangle. We have the point on the top indicating that this is no longer the triangle of manifestation, but rather the triangle of enlightenment. This seems to be a message for someone who's further along in their journey than a lot of people. Someone who has kind of figured out how the universe works. And in this search for the truth, it seems as if you've found something. You've found your more authentic self. But not only that, you've found a way to access your third eye. You've found a way to access not just that, but it seems like perhaps other things like astral projection or visiting other planes of existence, other realities. It seems like this person or group that I'm reading for has a deeper understanding of the universe just as a whole. We have this reflective image, and reflections always bring me back to that merging of the self, the dark and light aspects of self. In this card, we also see flowers. We see blossoming roses. That takes me to kind of like a place where I'm seeing like an opening up of maybe more gifts, more abilities, more truths. But regardless, it seems like there is definitely something growing and blossoming right now in your life. And that brings me to the village. Now, the village is an interesting one. It can be interpreted in a lot of different ways. I'm really taking notice of the colors in the background, lighting up the more base chakras. You have a lot of the yellows, the solars, a little bit of the oranges for the sacral, and the red for the root chakra. We have this mountain range in the background. It's surrounded by this kind of nest type of pattern. It's not a nest. It feels like a field, a vast empty field that leads to this mountain range, that pinnacle of enlightenment. It seems like you're being asked to take everything that your guides and take all the synchronicities, take everything that the universe has to tell you, and really take it to heart. That way you're able to seamlessly make this ascend. There's that well-known expression, it takes a village. It takes a village to do a lot of things, not just raise a kid. It sometimes takes a village to reach enlightenment. It takes a lot of different interactions with people, a lot of different both positive and negative interactions with people. But it takes a lot of getting into touch with the real you as well. something that it seems like you've already have a good grasp at being able to do, being able to go into those really dark places and understand that the dark parts of yourself are not evil. They're just human. There's another well-known expression, to err is to be human, and that is absolutely true. Even on our ascent, the most calm and collected person can still just completely lose their crap at a moment's notice. And you might not think it's something worth exploding over, but that person might feel differently, you know? We all have different perceptions of things. This card is really saying a lot about those different perceptions. It takes a village. It takes a lot of different viewpoints. It takes maybe even separating yourself and taking kind of like a bird's eye view of things, if that makes sense. Okay, where am I going now? With the Seven of Cups, traditionally it's read as either a lot of different decisions that are being placed in front of you, or even some of those decisions or things being illusionary and just kind of there to sway you off of your path. In this card, we have a lot of the same kind of imagery, but the person in this card seems to be actively avoiding all of those potential derailments. He seems to be navigating through everything pretty seamlessly, and he's actually holding up the world as he's doing so. It's taking a lot of strength not to be pulled in one direction or another direction, or whatever the case may be. It's taken a lot of energy and a lot of wisdom to be able to say no to some things that might look good on paper or right in front of you in the moment, but won't really serve your higher purpose and the truth that you seek in the long run. Okay, so in this card, the Four of Wands, there's a lot of that green heart energy. In the normal Rider-Waite, this card is shown as this guy sitting by a tree. These 3 cups are in front of him, and he's very focused on these 3 cups, so much so that he can't see the cup that's being offered to him. Kind of a lot like the illusion of all the different cups in the Seven of Cups. Why do I keep talking about the Four of Cups? That might be really relevant in some way. I feel like there might be some opportunity that someone isn't seeing right now. And that might not be for everybody. That might just be for one individual. But I'm very much getting that, since like I can't get off the Four of Cups thing. Let's get on to this one, though. This one is the Four of Wands. So this is usually kind of like the card of celebration, of homecoming, I guess would be a better word for it. And that's definitely kind of exemplified with these 2 people. Once again, kind of bringing me back to that merging of the self, the dark and light aspects, the masculine and feminine aspects. And you have this being in the background. I very much feel like that is the integrated form of yourself. You can even see in the front or in the foreground right here two beings that are kind of doing this little interplay dance number. These mushrooms are very much taking root. Their energy is grounded. The solar plexus energy is just kind of exploding out in this card, indicating that very much kind of like that happiness that kind of fills your stomach with butterflies, or I don't know how to describe it, but it's something that brings you a lot of joy in life. You can see that this person's like radiance is just kind of being shattered open at that moment, sending shards of glass flying everywhere. It's kind of like this, it feels like someone has either experienced or will be experiencing very soon this burst of energy, this burst of knowing, of wisdom, of the integration of self, so that you can feel all of those different wonderful feelings in the heart and solar plexus area. To do this, though, there's always a sacrifice, of course. Something seems like it has to die. Whether this is a pre-existing belief about yourself, about the universe, maybe this is something that you still need to work through, but something is unresolved. We have the devil here, and instead of the usual inverted pentagram, we have actually just a gaping hole. His third eye is up here. The devil is representative of matter over the mind, which is why you see him with an inverted pentagram. The two little legs of the star, those are supposed to be grounded. The at the head of the star, I guess. Yeah, I guess you can think of the star as like a person, but yeah, that little tip, that's talking about the mind. So when it's flipped the correct direction, we're talking about mind over matter. We're talking about enlightenment. When the devil card comes up, it's matter over the mind. So it could be that someone is allowing the material world to affect them a little more than they should at this time, or during their journey, especially since it seems like they are so very close to what they desire. We see orchids, and loving orchids myself. I have a giant orchid tattoo on the side of me. These are very resilient little flowers. They are easily killed in the household, but when you find them in the wild, they can just take over. They're almost kind of like an invasive species a little bit. This might be an invasive thought that, or invasive or pervasive, that just, it keeps coming up and it keeps throwing you off of what you're trying to accomplish. This card is really trying to warn you that you have the key to unlock your own binds. You don't have to stay trapped. All you have to do is free yourself from your own devil. And at the end of it, or maybe, okay, this might be the energy that a person might need to be embodying now, but we have the Queen of Cups. She's very, heart space and solar plexus with the green and yellow colors, but you can see down below this card's a little, let me see if, I don't know if YouTube will like me showing it, but down below there is kind of this projection over this one cup, and this projection is of like a light being, almost like the one in this card right here. And the projection is actually, I don't know if you can see, but it's being given by a human that is kind of poking out of this box that's been shattered open. There's this, is he a winged creature? He's some kind of creature there to greet this person, to greet this message. Perhaps this is a guide of some kind that's trying to reach you right now to help you finish your ascent. But whatever it is, I can't really show it, but she has a lightning bolt right in her crotch. This thing that you're growing, it feels like it's a fast-moving energy once that momentum gets started, and it will just kind of snowball down the hill from there. So let me see, what other... Let's look at the shadow work aspect. Conflict. Know what you dislike. Focus on your likes. I feel like this is a conflict within yourself, that thing that must die to be able to move forward. Let me see. Defense mechanisms. Soothe uncomfortable situations or thoughts. A lot of that purple coming out in this card. And definitely the yellow. These defense mechanisms may have been holding you back from being able to reach the higher levels of consciousness, or are maybe keeping you blocked in this kind of cycle where you're able to access and then you're not, and then you're able to access and then you're not. Kind of like a roller coaster. Maybe that would better describe the butterflies I was talking about earlier. Would be more the idea of that up and down of a roller coaster. But these defense mechanisms aren't really serving you in any way. And it seems like the sooner you can bring them down, the better. Let's get one more card. If it'll come out. Dark Night of the Soul. Ego patterns soften and soul wisdom emerges. Immediately I'm drawn to the image of the person meditating. I feel like a lot of these transformations will take place in a meditative state when you're more relaxed and you're more able to access those parts of you emotionally rather than with your logic brain. A good way to do this would be to listen to theta sound waves. Binaural beats are really awesome. I love them, and they really help you relax and get into that space where you're kind of floating in the middle of being awake and asleep at the same time. If there are any other cinephiles or even writers or anyone like that listening, this card definitely feels like what's often called the darkest moment. It's that point where the hero in the story is just really defeated. They're wondering if they could go on. It's like all hope is lost. And then they have that moment. And it might not be like an aha moment, like a snap of your fingers and you got it type of moment, but it's that moment where it's more about the strength and resilience of the person. They get up and they walk toward the light anyway. I'm seeing that scene in Frozen 2 with Anna in the cave after Olaf just like evaporated. She knows that her sister at this point is probably dead because Olaf is no longer alive, and Anna is just distraught, but she's singing her song and she gets up and she puts one foot in front of the other, and she keeps going. That's what this card is really saying to me. You might be entering that phase, that darkest moment in your story or in your journey, but it's all about taking those little steps toward the light. But I feel like going through this is necessary. I don't know if you can see the circular imagery right here with this little light circle, and then we also have a circle right around this meditating person. This kind of makes me see the idea of portals. Maybe not in the literal sense, but kind of like, how do I put this into words? By going through the darkness, that light on the other side is kind of like a portal in a sense. You'll be re-emerging into a new you. If hopefully that makes sense. And let's draw an alchemy card. Rex Marinus, the Drowned King. Interesting. Looks like I can get my Roman numerals right. Nope, too far. Not enough. There we go. In this card, we can see a lot of little gold bubbles, and there's this a purple gem, perhaps a sapphire, that's kind of inside of a void at the moment. It seems like at the bottom of the ocean. Let me read from the book for this. Rex Marinus, the Drowned King. Ego collapse, losing face, humility. In alchemy, the archetype of the king is often used as a symbol for the ego, the aspect of the self that is attached to its title, name, and identity. It is said that the drowned king is a required phase in the process of transformation. Only through dissolving who they thought they were is the king able to become who they are destined to be, a kind and benevolent leader. How does the drowning occur? Not voluntarily, that's for certain. Through circumstances beyond their control, the king is brought to their bottom, to their knees. When this card appears, expect a huge blow to the ego, impactful enough that it causes one to turn their life around, prioritizing grace over greed, benevolence over brutality, sovereignty over selfishness. The drowned king eventually resurfaces as a fully changed, benevolent being. To ponder the power of benevolence. Wow, okay, so that is very much what this card is talking about. A complete kind of disillusionment of the self to gain that higher perspective that you need to be able to merge yourself back together, and to be able to come out of it through the other side with more wisdom, with more grace, with more kindness, with more compassion. This seems to be the biggest message in your shadow work journey is just disillusionment, going deep within and really cleaning house. So I'll leave that there. I really hope that this helps someone, and I would be appreciative if you would click that like button and subscribe. Bye.